Hello, my fellow nerds, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle two separate questions. First, we're going to see just how you make a spell in the Harry Potter universe. And then we're going to see if this applies to Snape to find out if he ever killed anyone other than Dumbledore. A thousand years ago, the founders were opening up Hogwarts, and the Peverell brothers were creating the Deathly Hallows. So I think it's fair to say that this time period had many powerful wizards, and it's probably fair to say that many of them created the spells that we see throughout the Harry Potter universe. So the question becomes, why would they choose Latin to create these spells instead of English, Spanish, French, or German? Well, the solution is pretty simple. By this time period, Latin was already a dead language, so there wouldn't be that many people speaking it. The last thing you want to do is grab your wand and say in anger, "I'm gonna kill you!" And then that person just dies. It makes more sense to use the Latin words and say, and then have the green jet of light come out and stop the person's heart. Latin is a very complex language. Each word can be modified by case, tense, person, aspect, gender, or mood, which makes the meaning of each word extremely clear. So when a witch or wizard has to decide between this dead language that's clear and concise versus any number of these newer languages that are still being developed and words often change in meaning, it makes sense that they would go with Latin. On top of that, they're going to want to make sure that their emotions and intentions are being matched exactly by the words being spoken. So when they go with something like English, where context matters a lot, they might have a different outcome than they wanted. Meanwhile, if they would have went with Latin, the outcome would have matched the words exactly. When a witch or wizard is casting a spell, they're not just saying some words and waving their hand about. They're either using their emotions or intentions to fuel the spell. But when they use both, the spell becomes even more powerful. A great example of this is in The Prisoner of Azkaban. Lupin teaches Harry how to use the Patronus charm. And when he does, he tells him he needs to think of his happiest memory. He basically needs to engulf himself in happiness. And when he does this, the Patronus comes out as light. Then later in the film, we see Harry and Sirius being attacked by Dementors. And when Harry produces the Patronus, he no longer is using just happiness. He has the intent to protect them. And when the Patronus comes out, it takes on the appearance of a stag. This form of Patronus is called a corporeal Patronus. It is far more powerful than an incorporeal Patronus. And when he uses it, it repels all the Dementors away. Another example of this is in Order of the Phoenix. Bellatrix kills Sirius Black, and we watch Harry chase her down, and he uses the Cruciatus Curse on her, otherwise known as the Torture Curse. As Bellatrix lays on the ground, Voldemort says to Harry,
"You've got to mean it, Harry. She killed him."
Harry had the anger. He just watched his only family member die in front of him. The thing is, though, Harry is just too nice of a guy. He could never want to torture somebody. He would never have the intention to do that. We know for a fact that Bellatrix used the Cruciatus Curse on Neville's parents to a point to where they lost their mind. She has the anger. She had the intention to hurt them, and it had disastrous effects. But pure and simple, Harry could never combine those two things to bring the curse to full effect. An unbreakable vow is where you take your words and bind them to an action. In spell creation, we're really trying to do the exact opposite of that. We're trying to take an action fueled by emotions and intentions and bind them to a word. Now, I don't think in spell creation it's an exact unbreakable vow, but it is something just like it. But there is something in the vow that we have not talked about in spell creation, and that is the action itself. We quickly need to take a look at Luna Lovegood, but not really Luna. We need to take a look at her mother. Now, what do we know about her mother?
You've known someone who's died, then?
My mum. She was quite an extraordinary witch, but she did like to experiment, and one day one of her spells went badly wrong.
That's right. She died from experimenting with spell creation. But what this really tells us is that you have to know everything before you bind the spell. You've done the action, you know the intent and emotion behind it, you know the Latin phrase, and if you don't know all that, the outcomes could be disastrous. Take the killing curse, for example. You've never murdered anyone, you don't know the intent and the emotion that could drive somebody to kill, and you don't know the Latin phrase, but you go ahead and you try binding it all anyways, and immediately it backfires and kills you. But it doesn't have to be something as powerful as the killing curse. It could be something simple and easy, like a gardening spell. But you don't garden. You don't know the intent and emotion people put into gardening. So when you bind the spell, it's not plants that grow, it's you. And you grow and you grow and you grow, and all of a sudden, your heart gives out, and you die. You have to know everything before you bind the spell. And this is what brings us to Severus Snape. In the Goblet of Fire, once Voldemort is returned in the graveyard, he is speaking to his Death Eaters. He comes to a gap, and he looks at it, and he says, "There are 6 missing Death Eaters here. 3 who died in my service. 1 who is too cowardly to return. He will surely pay. 1 who I fear has left me forever. He will surely die. And 1 who remains my most faithful servant." So, who is he talking about here? Well, the coward, Igor Karkaroff. The one he fears has left him forever, Snape. His most faithful servant, Barty Crouch Jr. But let's say that one about Snape again. The one I fear has left me forever. This makes it sound like he cares for Snape in some fashion. Now you might be thinking, well, yeah, Snape gave him the prophecy about how Harry Potter would be his downfall. And you're right. But I think it goes further than that. I think Voldemort sees a connection between him and Snape, because they both killed their own fathers while they attended Hogwarts. We know that Snape did not like his Muggle side. He took the nickname the Half-Blood Prince, and Prince is his mother's maiden name, and it's his mother who is the witch. So this already has some resemblance to Voldemort. They both hated their father's side. Now, Tobias Snape, Snape's father, was abusive. So let me just paint a picture for you. Snape returns from school, let's say his 5th year, and his father's drunk, angry, going off. Snape knows that he can't react with magic. And the reason why? Well, the ministry is pretty tight on underage magic. So he devises a plan. He's going to go after his father with a sword, and he slashes him across the chest. And as he bleeds out, he grabs his father by the ankle and drags him out of their home. He then buries his father, killing and taking care of a muggle like you do muggles. Then later on, he goes back to school, and he turns these actions into spells. The slash of the sword is sectumsempra, and the dragging of the body by the ankle is levicorpus. Well, that got pretty dark, not gonna lie. But at least to me, it all makes sense. From the spell creation to Snape taking out his own father. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, you don't have to hit that like and subscribe, but if you do, I'd greatly appreciate it. Feel free to comment down below and let's chat. I'll see you guys next time.